Hey everyone, how are we doing? Just while we're waiting for everyone to jump in, if you could rename yourselves with your name, your state, and what organisation you're with, that'd be really great. So it's really great to have everyone here. It's good to see such great participation. So hi, I would like to welcome you to this community of practice in place-based action research. We hope that this will grow as a place of learning, of reflection and relationships. My name is Katie Moore and I will be chairing today's session with Naomi, who you meet in a moment. We're excited to have you here and would invite you to change your Zoom name to include your state and organisations where you're involved in place-based activities. We are recording the main sessions of this workshop and it will be available afterwards. Place-based projects are birthed in place, and as in the case of any place in this nation, it is a place of country. Today, I acknowledge country, especially the country I am on today, and every day, it seems, the lands of the Barramadigal and Darug peoples. I also acknowledge the lands that you are each on. If you feel comfortable, I'd like to invite you to write in the chat the land you are on and why it is important to you. But acknowledging country goes beyond the land we are gathered on today. It is the people and their continued connection to knowledge, languages, and culture. I equally acknowledge the people, the lands that have protected country, its languages and culture. Place is important. They are part of us and they hold great sentiment to us. It's where we grow up, where we live, where we work, and if we're really lucky, where we get to visit. But how much do we really know about these places? To work in place, we have to acknowledge and understand what has come before. Our histories, the good and the bad. We have to get beyond the great Australian silence or the cult of disremembering. We need to come together to listen, to empathise, and to understand one another. This is why we need the power of relationships, of building community, so that we create the change that we all know the world needs right now. For me, this is best described in a single word in my Wiradjuri language, Yinjamara, which means to give honour and respect, to go slow with gentleness and kindness, and to take responsibility. So why am I here? I've been passionate and trying to create change most of my life. For me, this comes with a pretty chaotic start to life. 8 weeks premature, a collapsed lung, and doctors telling my parents that I wouldn't survive the 2-hour ambulance to Canberra Hospital. And then when I did, I would need an incubator with high levels of oxygen that would cause blindness, but it didn't. Many a time I was told that I was lucky to survive, or at the very least, be blind. I've always sensed that I was alive for a purpose, just spent a long time trying to work that out. I'm intrigued in how we make the world better, a world of fairness and justice. So I'm here to learn, to reflect, and work at how together we can make the world better. Currently, this work has me at the University of Sydney, creating change through managing research affiliation partnerships and contributing to university-wide initiatives to increase diversity and inclusion in participation and practice. I definitely want to know how I can do this better. So I hope that's why you're here too. So a brief rundown of the workshop. Naomi is going to outline a bit of the work we've been doing to create this space and how we want to ensure that this is your space too. We're going to learn about the relational method from Amanda Tattersall and hear about how it has been applied in some place-based projects within The Real Deal. We're then going to break out into small groups to reflect and create connections across our different roles. There will be opportunities for dialogue with our presenters, and then we'll pass the baton over to you to co-design this community of practice. Let's get started, Naomi.
Thank you, Katie. Hi, everyone. My name's Naomi. I live in Wootherchup, which is Margaret River, in Wadandi Budja, which is the land of the saltwater people in the southwest of Western Australia. I'm a Vice-Chancellor's Research Fellow at Edith Cowan University, and a lot of my research is using feminist participatory action research in partnership with social movements to bring about social change. But I'm also, and more importantly in my mind, an activist for social justice, for climate justice, for environmental justice, for gender justice. And I find myself very fortunate to be part of this Real Deal community and co-chairing this, this community of practice. So I'm just going to give a little quick background about how we've arrived here to create this community of practice. Hopefully you've all heard about the Real Deal Coalition, which was formed in about the, as COVID really started to escalate here in Australia. The coalition is a coalition of civil society organisations across Australia and academics from some universities, including the Sydney Policy Lab and me here over at Edith Cowan University. And the coalition really is trying to focus on how we can create a real deal for Australia in the context of the climate crisis, of the health and inequality crisis that we're experiencing, and what it looks like to shape a new Australia. And what's that transition process like? At the core of the real deal is the rights and sovereignty for First Nations people, and collectively working across the civil society movements in partnership with academics to chart this new process forward. So one aspect of the real deal are what we're calling place-based projects. And that's academics and grassroots organisations in particular places around Australia, developing up projects to really look at and develop a localised transition process, a transition for economic fairness, a transition for climate justice. And so as part of the thinking that we've been doing around the place-based projects, we wanted to explore what that looks like in practice and what are some methodologies that we can develop together and learn from each other together to really help this work happen. There's a lot of people around this country who have a lot of knowledge about different types of place-based research, of participatory methodologies, and of practice in this work. And so we've created this community of practice so that we can all share our learnings and build this knowledge and really help inform quite significant transformational place-based projects that can occur across the continent. So this community of practice is hosted by a number of hosts. It's co-hosted by the Sydney Policy Lab at the University of Sydney, by my research centre at Edith Cowan University, the Centre for People, Place and Planet, by Jesuit Social Services, and by Australia Together. And so we've been coming together to organise the community of practice and get this first session established. So we're looking forward to the space for learning today and how we can be developing this over a longer period of time as a collective across the nation for people who are interested in what place-based research and action looks like. Thanks, Katie.
Great, thanks, Naomi. As we started this community of practice process, we wanted to set some initial objectives and drafted some language, knowing this is a dynamic space to become what we want and need it to be. So across research, action, learning, the purpose was to a learning group of practitioners, researchers, and communities who have common drive to strengthen participatory-based research and practice for the pursuit of knowledge and action, with the objective to build a network and connections across academics, practitioners, bringing together research and lived experience that supports place-based research and action to support transformation and change. Our functions are to convene people, experience sharing, enhance collaboration, bring a creative learning process that amplifies information. Later in the session, we'll be coming back to this. Now we're going to jump into some breakouts. We have 12 minutes here, and we would love for you to introduce yourself and explain to each other why you